so we do have enough people, but we will not start the meeting until everyone who's been waiting in line at 1:30 gets in. So just a heads up that we have a cheap quorum.
More about this topic. Check out the Access and Inclusion section in the Architect's Schematic Design Report. This has been Ali with the Accessibility and Inclusion section. For feedback, comments and suggestions, please fill out our feedback form at buildsfu.ca.
The Build SFU benchmark statement is a crucial document that keeps us aligned with our goals. But what does it all mean? In this video, we'll tell you all about our project's benchmark statement and how it keeps us grounded in the fundamental goals for the Student Union building. After several brainstorming sessions in 2014, the architects helped the SFSS develop a benchmark statement. The statement synthesizes our goals and provides a helpful reminder of the Student Union building's fundamental drivers. The benchmark statement contains 4 key elements. Firstly, the sub must be student-focused. We want to ensure that this is a students' building operated by the SFSS, where events and activities are controlled by students for students. Secondly, the sub will promote a sense of community. The sub will be a home away from home, a place that is comfortable, inviting, and fun. Thirdly, the sub will focus on having outstanding design and provide a clear wow factor in the heart of SFU's Burnaby campus. Not only will the sub be aesthetically pleasing, it will also be inclusive, accessible, and sustainable. And last but not least, the sub will place an emphasis on nature. Where possible, we'll feature the use of our spectacular mountaintop environment and use natural materials such as wood and glass. So that was Brady with your introduction to the Build SFU benchmark statement. Look out for the new sub coming your way in September 2017.
At the annual general meeting, or AGM for short, the SFSS informs students of its happenings and gives them a chance to vote on key decisions. In this video, we'll tell you all you need to know about important Build SFU items at this year's AGM. This year's AGM is on Wednesday, October 22nd at 1:30 p.m. at the SFU Theatre, located across from the library and next to the Maggie Benson Centre. This year, the SFSS is asking students to vote on 2 items, a special resolution and the addition of a bylaw, that are crucial to ensure that the Build SFU project continues on time. First, the Society will be asking students for permission to enter into a debenture or a loan with the bank. Passing this special resolution will allow the SFSS to build your sub as soon as possible. The Build SFU levy will then be used to pay back the loan as the levy is collected over time. Next, in order to get an affordable interest rate and save students money, we need to give the banks reassurance that the SFSS will and can pay back the loan. This is done by adding a bylaw to ensure that any society fee that is attached to the repayment of a loan will continue to be collected until such loan is paid off. Come out to the AGM on Wednesday, October 22nd at 1:30 p.m. at the SFU Theatre and be a part of your society and your community. The campus of tomorrow depends on it. This has been Michelle with an explanation of Build SFU's items at this year's AGM. To find out more, visit our website at buildsfu.ca.
With over 300 clubs, DSUs, and student groups that are part of the SFSS, there is no doubt that they are a huge part of our organization. In this Subspace Spotlight, we'll be showcasing the Subs Club Center, a one-stop shop for student groups' needs. Equipped with various resources, such as computers, meeting space, and staff members, the Subs Club Center will provide a whopping 3,200 square foot space for club and student group use. Within this space, there's firstly a 2,000 square foot open lounge. This area will be a perfect spot for groups to access SFSS services and work on various projects. Need a space to meet? No problem. With ample space, resources, and storage, the Club Center will finally provide groups a centralized place to collaborate and gather ideas. This has been Shireen with your Club Center Spotlight. For more information, check out buildsfu.ca.
Frustrated with the lack of spaces to cook on campus? We at Build SFU understand there's more to fine cuisine than microwaves. During this Subspace Spotlight, we'll tell you everything you need to know about the Student Union Building's community kitchen. Envision a space on campus where you can take cooking classes, prepare goods for a bake sale, or even participate in an Iron Chef competition. This vision will be made a reality in the Student Union Building. The Sub's community kitchen will be a 250 square foot space, fully bookable by student groups. Students can expect to find various appliances such as a stove, oven, and a fridge in this space, which means finally you can cook your favorite meals right on campus. This has been Michelle with your Community Kitchen Spotlight. For more information on the contents of the Sub, be sure to check out our website, buildsfu.ca. Video games at school? It's not too good to be true. In this Subspace Spotlight, we'll be telling you all about the Student Union Building Gamers Lounge and what you can expect in this new space. Whether you play pool or Halo, ping pong or Mario Kart, the Sub will have something for you. Students can expect 2 spaces devoted to gaming in the new Student Union Building. Firstly, the Gamers Lounge, and secondly, the Rec Room. The Gamers Lounge will be a space decked out with computers, TV screens, and gaming consoles for you to unwind on campus. Comfortable seating and a spacious atmosphere will make you feel right at home. The Rec Room will be a space containing pool tables, ping pong tables, and more. Here, students can connect, socialize, and meet new friends. This has been Christina with your Gamers Lounge Spotlight. For more information on the contents of the Sub, be sure to check out our website at buildsfu.ca.
If you have ever been to Maggie Benson Center, you've probably noticed the Build SFU think tank by the food court. What is this place all about? Well, in this video, we'll show you all the information you need about the space. The think tank, located in MBC 2270, opened in January 18th, 2013. It is the headquarters for Build SFU project and the home for the management team of this project. The space is open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is a great place to start for those hoping to learn about this project, have a friendly conversation with our staff, look at the building design, or play a game of football. Last but not least, the think tank is bookable for student groups who are in need of a meeting space. For more information, please visit buildsfu.ca. This has been Mo with your introduction to the think tank. Be sure to stop by in person to check out our space, MBC 2270.
As students, we know that getting enough sleep can often be a challenge. Luckily, our Student Union Building is going to provide a much needed space for you to recharge. In this Subspace Spotlight, we'll be showcasing the highly anticipated napping room. We've seen it all around campus. Sleepy students napping in cubicles, on chairs, or pretty much any space that they can find. Fortunately for these sleep-deprived students, our Sub will provide a napping space for all students to enjoy. The Sub's napping room will be a quiet and cozy space with comfortable furniture and even small lockers to safely store your belongings, providing the ideal atmosphere for that much-needed relaxation. Just don't forget to wake up. This has been Jeremy with your Napping Room Spotlight. For more information on the contents of the Sub, visit our website at buildsfu.ca.
Hello again, everybody. Just for ease of vote counting, once the meeting starts, if everybody could fill in the lower sections before we start to place people in the top rows, so there's plenty of room if people could start to fill the rows in this section. Thank you.
In the architectural design phase. During this phase, the architects are taking the information collected from consultations and using it to design a building that suits students' needs. The architectural design phase can be further divided into 3 components. Firstly, schematic design. This is the first step in transforming ideas into physical spaces. Here, the design team begins to create plans, models, and illustrations to help students visualize the Student Union Building. Secondly, design development. Here, the architects further develop initial designs. The goal of this component is to determine design decisions for construction such as building materials, furniture, lighting, and art. By the end of this phase, decisions having to do with sustainability goals, function, aesthetics, and budgets should be made. The last component of this phase is construction drawings. This component will provide the necessary documents, drawings, and specifications needed for the project to move on and begin construction. After the completion of this phase, students should have a solid idea of what the Student Union building will look like. The next phase, construction, is slated to begin in 2015. This has been Christina with your subphase update. For more detailed information on each of the subphases, be sure to check out our website, buildsfu.ca.
Finally, a space for dancers and musicians to be creative on campus. In this sub-space spotlight, we'll be showcasing the sub's music and dance rehearsal rooms. In our sub, student dancers and musicians can expect 1,000 square feet of creative freedom. We can break this down into two categories. Firstly, the rehearsal rooms will be a large space for dance and music practices, club activities, or yoga. The acoustically treated rooms will accommodate up to 40 people. Secondly, 2 soundproof rehearsal booths can accommodate 1 or 2 musicians. Each of these rooms will have a piano. With the addition of these rehearsal spaces, students will finally have a venue for creative expression, collaboration, and fun. This has been Coyote with your rehearsal space spotlight. For more information on the contents of the sub, be sure to check out our website at buildsfu.ca.
With our Student Union building, food and beverage services, and SFU Greek letter organizations all on the agenda, many important topics will be covered at our Special General Meeting, or SGM, on January 21st. In this video, we'll tell you everything you need to know about the 2015 SGM. Last fall, our annual general meeting had the highest student turnout in recent history. This led to some issues with safely accommodating everyone inside the venue. The SFSS is committed to democratic processes and ensuring that students are able to vote on student society business. To do this, we're hosting our special general meeting in the largest indoor location available on Burnaby campus, West Gym, located between West Mall Center and Residence. Be sure to look out for signs on the day of the SGM that will point you in the right direction. All undergraduate students registered for classes in spring 2015 are eligible to vote. Registration starts at 12:30 p.m. and you'll need to bring your student ID in order to register. At this meeting, students are going to be voting on a special resolution as well as a bylaw addition relating to the Build SFU project. They'll also be voting on 2 opinion polls. With the special resolution, Build SFU is asking SFSS members for permission to enter in a debenture or loan with the bank, which would be the next step in moving forward with the construction phase of the sub-project. Members will also vote on a bylaw addition, which will ensure that any society fee that is attached to the repayment of a loan will continue to be collected until such loan is paid off. Next, students will be voting on 2 opinion polls. The first of these polls will ask students whether or not they support the presence of Greek letter organizations such as fraternities and sororities on campus. The second poll will ask students if they support the ongoing operations of the SFSS food and beverage services, made up of the Highland Pub, the Ladle, the Higher Grounds Coffee, and catering services. Do you want to have a say in these important issues? Be sure to join us for the special general meeting on Wednesday, January 21st in the West Gym at Burnaby campus. Registration begins at 12:30 p.m. and the meeting starts at 1:30 p.m. See you there!
Recognizing the amount of talent we have in our student body, the Student Union building will offer SFU's student performers a place to shine. In this sub-space spotlight, we'll be showcasing the sub's performance and active lounge spaces aptly named the Social Stage. The Social Stage will be a 1,400 square foot space that gives students an ideal venue to showcase their musical or artistic talents. Located by the front entrance, this space will be a central, indoor, and inclusive venue that offers students more opportunities to connect and engage with others. This versatile space could potentially host not only musical performances, but also all-aged events, project displays, and more. With a student population as diverse as SFU's, the possibilities are endless. This has been Brady with your Social Stage Spotlight. For more information on the contents of the sub, be sure to check out our website, buildsfu.ca.
With all the buzz going on about the sub, many students have wondered what's happening with the stadium portion of the project. In this video, we'll update you on the status of the stadium portion of the Build SFU project. While the Build SFU project was initially proposed as a combined sub and stadium facility at the Lauren Davies complex, it has since been decided that the stadium will be designed and constructed separately. The stadium will allow for better student attendance at SFU sporting events and will allow for athletics to better integrate into SFU student life. Here is an update on the project's progress. In spring 2014, SFU began consultation with the university in regards to an addition to the Lauren Davies complex, the existing home of our recreation and athletic facilities. Master planning for this area is now underway and consultations are taking place with various stakeholders. Build SFU is taking an active part in these discussions. To figure out the best way to integrate our stadium with other anticipated changes, Build SFU is in the process of collaborating with the university and other stakeholders to minimize the stadium's cost and disruption to students. Consultation and design work is estimated to take place throughout 2014 and 2015. This has been Jeremy with your Stadium Update. For more information on the project as it comes, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/buildsfu or follow us on Twitter at buildsfu.
One of the many ways students can get involved with Build SFU is by joining the Student Advisory Committee. In this video,
hello everyone, welcome to our 2015 special general meeting. Thank you guys for coming out today. I have a few quick announcements before we get started. At 1:30 we had a marker in the line. So everybody who arrived to the venue by 1:30 is in the room right now. We have over 450 students in the room, so we have quorum. And we will get started in a few minutes. First, I would like to ask, does everybody in the room have a meeting package and voting cards? Okay. If you don't have it, please grab one at the front up there. If you need to leave the room early, please use the exit downstairs to your left. If you need to use the washroom, it's upstairs. There's also a water fountain and a few refreshments. And at this point, I will call this meeting to order at 1:33 p.m. And the first order of business is the appointment of the chair. And I move to appoint our president, Sharday Buchert, as the president of the 2015 special general meeting. Can I get a seconder? Seconded by, can you state your name? All right, Colin Woodbury. All those in favor of appointing Sharday Buchert as the chair of this meeting, please raise your voting cards. Please keep them up until we count the votes. Just gonna wait until I get all the...
Thank you.
5 minutes.
No, that's mine. Thank you, Katie. I'm just going to say it passes. Thank you. Thank you very much. The vote passes, and I'm going to pass the floor to Sharday.
Thank you, Ziad, and thank you, everybody, for appointing me chair as the meeting. So before we proceed to a review of the meeting rules, I would like to acknowledge that today our meeting is taking place on the unceded Coast Salish lands, which to my current knowledge includes the Musqueam, Squamish, Stolo, and Tsleil-Waututh people. This acknowledges the fact that there were no treaties ever signed that ceded this territory to the government. As stipulated in the SFSS Administrative Policy 27, Board of Directors are to act as vote and quorum counters, called scrutineers, and will act under the direction of our VP Services, Ziad, who will act as our head scrutineers. Scrutineers, if you could please raise your hand. These people will be counting the votes today and also conducting regular quorum checks. Quorum to conduct business at today's meeting is 250 people personally present. One final confirmation. Ziad, do we have quorum?
Yes, we do.
The notice calling this meeting was emailed to all members in accordance with SFSS Bylaw 11.2, and we have achieved quorum. We can therefore proceed with the regularly called and properly constituted transactions of business for today. I now turn to item 3 on the agenda, adoption of the agenda and review of meeting rules. Before we commence with the adoption of the agenda, I would like to comment on the rules and procedures for today. As you are all aware, the main purpose of this special general meeting is to consider certain business that was on the agenda of our annual general meeting of October 2014. Unfortunately, due to high interest, which resulted in capacity issues, not everyone was able to speak or vote on that business. This meeting today has been called specifically to remedy that and to give all members a chance to speak on the matters on today's agenda. Today's meeting will be conducted in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order. We will now show a short video outlining the basics. This has been posted on our Facebook page and website in advance. We just want to make sure that everyone is aware of the proceedings and the rules that will govern today. Please refer to the screen.
At the SFSS, we rely on Robert's Rules of Order to ensure that all meetings run effectively. This video will go through the basics of Robert's Rules and how they work to make meetings more efficient. To keep meetings on track, all orders of business are organized in an agenda that lists the various items that will be discussed. At the beginning of our meetings, members will vote on the adoption of this agenda. Only after the agenda is adopted can the meeting proceed. At the core of Robert's Rules is the creation of motions, which are formal proposals for an organization's membership to take a stance or take action on a certain issue. To make a motion, you must first obtain the floor. To do so, you must wait for the chairperson to call on you after the last speaker has spoken. When making a motion, ensure that it is clear, concise, and stated in the affirmative. This is not the time to elaborate on your motion or try to motivate for it. You will get the opportunity to justify your motion during the discussion period. However, before discussion can begin, another individual must second your motion. Otherwise, it is lost. Note, you don't have to be in support of a motion in order to second it. Seconding simply means that you would like to see further debate and discussion happen. If your motion has been moved and seconded, it is placed before members for consideration and debate. The mover is always allowed to speak first and is given the opportunity to justify their motion. During discussion, only one speaker may speak at a time. At any point during the discussion, an individual can move to amend or modify a motion, saying, "I move to amend the motion," followed by the changes they wish to make. After all discussion and amendments have taken place, members will vote by a show of hands whether or not they support the motion. If the majority of members vote yes, then the motion passes.
Great. So that video was excellent, but a few other procedural points should be noted. We would like to finish today's meeting in 2 hours, recognizing everyone has busy schedules, class, work to get to. And we are scheduled to end today at 3:30 p.m. At the same time, we do want to ensure that everyone gets a chance to speak and is able to make an informed decision. In accordance with Robert's Rules, and in order to accommodate everyone's comments, members will be permitted to speak once to each motion. No one is permitted to speak a second time, so long as there are people waiting to speak who have not yet had the opportunity to do so. Any member can only speak 2 times to the same motion. There will be no time limit for the discussion of each motion to allow everyone a chance to be heard. However, I would ask that members keep their comments as brief as they possibly can and avoid repetition. I would encourage speakers to try to limit their comments to 5 minutes each. Darwin will be acting as a timekeeper and will indicate when you're approaching the 5-minute mark. During today's discussion, I would ask that everyone wishing to speak move forward to one of the 2 microphones, be recognized by the chair, and speak directly into the microphone. If you wish to speak in favor of a motion, please go to the yes microphone. If you wish to speak against a motion, please go to the no microphone. If you would like to raise a question or are undecided, you may go to either microphone, and I will do my best to alternate between the yes and no sides to ensure that both sides of the debate reach the floor. Please identify yourself by your first and last name when you speak so that the transcript can note your comments. Given the time constraints of this meeting and the importance of avoiding assumptions about gendered pronouns, I will refer to the gender-neutral pronouns they, them, and theirs for time constraints and just to ensure that we're not making any undue assumptions. Please remember that all comments are directed through the chair. And I do recognize that this is a very large group and that public speaking is challenging. Please don't feel intimidated. I will do my best to assist with any procedural questions around Robert's rules, and I will also rule any undue interruptions, personal attacks, booing, things of that nature out of order. Let's be civil. We're all here to have a good informed debate. In terms of entitlement to vote, you are all in here, so you're clearly members in good standing. By now, you should have received your colored voting cards. Green is yes, red is no. You've all demonstrated you know how to do that. So if there's anyone here that has not received their voting cards, again, please identify yourself to a scrutineer and they will provide them to you. As people filter in, if you could please try to either stay in the center section or fill in the seats here. It makes it a lot easier for voting counting, and the sooner we can count the votes, the more business we'll be able to get to, and the sooner we can move on. All members present should be aware that resolutions presented at items 5A and item 5B of the agenda are special resolutions which require approval by 75% of votes cast at this meeting. All other matters will require a simple majority of affirmative votes cast. Unless a secret ballot vote is requested and passed, voting will be by a show of hands using the colored cards, and each member entitled to vote will have 1 vote. I will now proceed to the adoption of the agenda for today's meeting. The agenda for today's special general meeting was previously circulated as part of the notice of meeting, and you should all have it in front of you in your meeting package. This agenda will guide the items to be addressed at today's meeting. Once approved, it cannot be changed without a 75% vote in favor of altering the order. Please note, as today's meeting is a special meeting, we are only able to address the matters that are on the agenda today, and the only thing that can be changed is the order in which they are addressed. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda for the meeting as presented?
This doesn't seem to be on, thank you. My name is Colin Woodbury. Whereas we have been recently informed that SFSS legal counsel with expertise in the BC Society Act has given legal opinion that the votes to approve the debenture and the bylaw can be held via online referendum in March of this year. Whereas many students here expressed the desire to vote here today but cannot attend due to work, school, or other rigid obligations. Whereas this meeting has been scheduled during peak instructional hours. Whereas the Memorandum of Understanding of September 2012 between the University and the SFSS planned for Build SFU construction to begin in January of 2016. Therefore, voting in March would not cause a delay according to the original plans. Whereas it states in the SFSS Constitution in point 2C that the mandate of the SFSS is to promote meaningful undergraduate participation, and in point 2D to facilitate collective action by undergrads at SFU. Be it resolved to remove 5A, the Build SFU project debenture, and 5B, the SFSS bylaw creation, from the agenda with the intention of holding them as referendum questions online in March.
Okay, so that is a motion that has been moved. Could you please state your name? Ben Munch. Thank you. Is there any discussion on, I guess, is this an addition to the agenda? This would be item 1 of the agenda.
I argue that it would be more democratic for us to take both of these motions as referendums, in that it would allow a much higher percentage of students, undergrads, both from Burnaby, from Surrey, and from Vancouver, to be able to vote.
Okay, so I will rule that the substance of this motion is in order, but at a special general meeting per the SFSS bylaws, we can't order something to a referenda question. There are certain procedures. So what would be in order would be a motion to postpone the question today indefinitely. Yes.
Yes, that is what I intended with my wording.
Okay. So then I would ask that once we get to item 5A, assuming today's agenda is approved, we would then move to discussion to postpone indefinitely during that discussion item.
Could you clarify?
So because on the agenda in front of you, it's item 5A.
Yes.
A motion to postpone an agenda item indefinitely would have to occur during the discussion of that item,
okay,
as opposed to the adoption of the agenda section.
I see.
So once we move to item 5A, then that discussion can occur in order under that section.
And it would not be an amendment to the agenda then?
No.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on the agenda? Okay, I'm seeing none, so we will now move to a vote on approving the agenda as presented. All those in favor? I'm going to double check this. I just want to double check to make sure. It passes unanimously, or is there any opposition? Okay, so we do have the count in. It looks like we have 5 opposition and all other votes cast in favor. So this does pass, and the agenda has been adopted. We will move to the next order of business, which is adoption of minutes. The 2013 special general meeting minutes are available in your meeting package. The motion that is on the agenda reads, "Be it resolved that the minutes of the April 3rd, 2013 special general meeting of the Simon Fraser Student Society be adopted." Is there a mover for this motion? If so, could you just please state your name? Stephanie Muniz? Thank you. Is there a seconder for this motion?
I'll second.
What's your name?
Ryan Yuchin.
Ryan Yuchin?
Yes.
Thank you.
YUCHIN.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on these minutes? Seeing none, we can move to a vote. All those in favor of adopting these minutes? Can you type?
I have one. And another one.
50 plus 1? Okay, thank you.
0. Passes.
Is there opposition? Okay, so with 2 points of opposition and the rest of votes cast in favor, that motion does pass, and we will move to the next item of business. This is a special resolution, and as in your agenda is 5A. The resolution for consideration was included in the notice of meeting and in your agenda. In summary, this resolution would grant the SFSS Board of Directors the authority for a period of 1 year to arrange the financing necessary to construct the Build SFU project and to grant a debenture to secure the SFSS's repayment obligations to the lender. Under our bylaws and the Societies Act, the authority to grant debentures requires a special resolution passed by 3/4 majority of the members present here today. I will now read the motion for consideration in its entirety. It is long, so please bear with me. The motion reads, whereas the Simon Fraser Student Society, the Society, and Simon Fraser University, SFU, have agreed to enter into a project, the project, for the construction of a new student union building and stadium on SFU's Burnaby campus, whereas a referendum was passed by the members of the Society, the members, on March 22nd, 2012 in favor of the development of the project, whereas the Society will need to borrow money from third parties to fund the development of the project and is seeking such financing on the best available terms. In order to obtain such funding, the Society may be required to grant or issue security in the form of a debenture, promissory note, mortgage, general security agreement, or other security instrument for the repayment of the amount so borrowed. Whereas the Society's bylaws, the bylaws, provide that the directors may, for the purposes of carrying out purposes of the Society, borrow, raise, or secure the repayment of money, or may authorize the issuance of security on the whole or part of the property or assets of the Society, present and future, including Society fees now or hereafter due or payable, except that no debenture shall be issued without the sanction of a special resolution. Whereas the Society Act BC similarly requires that any issuance of a debenture by the Society be approved by the members by special resolution and permits the members to grant a general power upon the directors to issue debentures for a period of 1 year from the date on which such resolution was passed. Whereas it is expedient for the purposes of facilitating the project that the members exercise the authority conferred upon them under the Societies Act BC and the bylaws by giving the directors the authority to borrow such amounts as may be required in order to pursue the project and to secure the repayment of such borrowing in the manner that the directors see fit. Be it resolved by special resolution that The directors are hereby authorized for a period of 1 year from the date hereof, on behalf of the society, to borrow from such persons, firms, corporations, societies, cooperatives, credit unions, trust companies, banks, or other lenders as they deem desirable, such amounts as are determined reasonable or necessary by the directors for the purposes of the project, on such terms as the directors may time to time approve. The directors are hereby further authorized for a period of 1 year from the date hereof, on behalf of the society, to secure repayment of any and all borrowing in such manner as the directors consider to be in the best interests of the society, including, without limitation, by the creation, granting, and/or issuance of debentures, promissory notes, mortgages, general security agreements, and such other security instruments charging all or any portion of the real or personal property of the society, all on such terms as the directors may time to time approve without further authorization from the members. Any two directors or officers of the society are hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the society, under seal or otherwise, any agreement, debenture, mortgage, security agreement, or other instrument that such persons deem necessary or desirable to effect any borrowing by the society or to give and perfect any security granted by the society. Is there a mover for this motion?
I move the motion.
Is there a seconder for this? Oh, sorry, please state your name.
Rebecca Langmead.
Okay. Is there a seconder willing to second this motion? Marcus, what's your last name? Marcus Mayero? Piero, thank you. I will cede to the mover.
I move that the special resolution set out in full as item 5A in the agenda circulated to the members, authorizing the directors for a period of 1 year from the date of its meeting to borrow the funds required for the project and issue a debenture to secure repayment of those funds be approved. Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome. Thank you for coming out to today's special general meeting. My name is Rebecca Langmead, and I'm going to speak regarding the motion of the Build SFU debenture. 3 years ago, in spring 2012, a referendum question was posed to the students of SFU with regards to having a levy added onto their student fees for the purpose of the creation of a student union building and a stadium. The referendum question passed successfully. Over the past 3 years, the SFSS, through the Build SFU department, has engaged in countless hours of outreach and consultation. This includes, but is not limited to, 4,800 hours of outreach by the Build SFU street team, over 4,000 survey responses, 30 focus groups, 8 community updates, as well as 6 workshops. This has all been done to consult undergraduate students of SFU, such as yourselves. The student feedback was used to determine the location of the student union building and the types of rooms that will be in the building. The design phase of the consultation took place last year, where students were invited to attend numerous focus groups and workshops. These include a sustainability workshop, an interior design focus group, an accessibility workshop, an art focus group, and design presentations. The stadium, which will sit on Terry Fox Field, will supply Burnaby campus with 2,500 seats. Furthermore, the SFSS has been working with SFU on the design of a field house, which will potentially link to the stadium and the Lauren Davies complex. The SFSS is asking students permission to take out a loan, also known as a debenture, to begin the construction of the student union building and the stadium.
Thank you. I will move to the no microphone.
Yes. I move to amend the motion, whereas we have been recently informed that SFSS legal counsel with expertise in the BC Society Act has given legal opinion that the votes...
Colin, I'm going to have to move a point of order.
Yes.
So it would just be, if you're intending to do what you were trying to do during the amendment, it would just be a motion to postpone indefinitely.
Okay. So not an amendment to what she said.
Right.
I will just continue then.
Okay.
The vote to approve the debenture can be held via online referendum in March of this year, whereas many students have expressed the desire to vote here today, but cannot attend due to work, school, or other rigid obligations, whereas this meeting has been scheduled during peak instructional hours, whereas the Memorandum of Understanding of September 2012 between the university and the SFSS planned for Build SFU construction to begin in January of 2016, Therefore, voting in March would not cause a delay according to the original plans. Whereas it states in the SFSS Constitution in point 2C that the mandate of the SFSS is to promote meaningful undergrad participation, and in point 2D to facilitate collective action by undergrads at SFU, be it resolved to table indefinitely from this meeting the motion 5A Build SFU project debenture from the agenda, and with the intention of holding it as a referendum question online in March.
Okay, thank you. Is there someone interested in seconding that motion? Could somebody just state their name? David Miller? Thank you. So now, just to clarify, discussion will be on postponing the motion indefinitely. And we can discuss the merits of this in that discussion, and this would require a simple majority vote to pass.
Hi. We have spoken to many students from Burnaby campus and from Surrey campus and from Vancouver campus, and there has been a lot of frustration that not everyone who wanted to vote today on this extremely important issue, this extremely massive project that is going to affect the next 3 decades of students, are not able to come here today and vote. Hence, it is more democratically sound if this is held as a referendum question.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Ziad Masmoudi. Until very recently, we did not know that this can go through a referendum, as Colin stated. There was a general understanding that a debenture needs to go through a general meeting. We did not know whether we were going to hold a full referendum until the very last minute, and hence why we put it on the October 22nd AGM agenda. Please be advised that if we decide to put this through referendum, it will cause major delays to the project, and these delays will hurt us financially, given that the offer we have from the financial institution will expire by that time. A lot of hours and work have been put into this meeting that, for your information, is costing us almost $7,000. Referring this to referendum will cost us at least another $10,000 and will result in major unnecessary costs. We have done our duty. We have advertised this meeting for weeks. We are all here ready today to make a decision. Yes, unfortunately, not everybody's going to be able to vote. That's also the case for referendum. Not everybody votes. You are all here in this room today. We are all here to make a decision, and I encourage you guys to vote this motion down. Thank you.
Thank you. I move to the no mic. Please state your name.
Ray Gillies. I'm in favor of this motion because I've been in this gym for about an hour and a half now. At this rate, I don't think I'm going to be able to vote on these very important issues that I've come here and informed myself in order to participate in. And it's very frustrating because I have other things to do, commitments that cannot be done away with. So just in terms of for myself and also for everyone else who, for similar reasons, couldn't be able to participate in this project, I'd like to support the move to have it be more accessible, especially to people who aren't on the mountain right now.
Thank you. I will move to the yes mic.
Hey, everybody's here and everybody's interested in what we're discussing, so let's have the conversation. There's no point in postponing a discussion when everybody's here. And so this is also a good way for you guys to get your points across if you want. There's a huge audience.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, can you please state your name?
Maria.
What's your last name?
Jovanovic.
Thank you. I move to this mic.
Hello, my name is Maxwell Bogan. Specifically on this issue, I'd like to address that this vote specifically targets members of the Burnaby campus disproportionately to other campuses. Everything about this motion, or about this, the Build SFU project, is more in the minds of the members of the Burnaby campus as it involves construction and improvements to our campus and not the others. I have talked to members of other campuses, specifically people in the fine arts program who are in Vancouver most of the time and cannot get away because they have many rehearsals. Members of the Surrey campus who have labs. People who are rarely on this campus at all, in fact. And the fact that this is being put to a vote in a time and place that these people specifically cannot likely attend is a little worrying as far as the democracy of the student union goes. I would much prefer that this be put to a referendum where people who will be less affected or less benefit from the improvements of the Build SFU project are allowed to vote on its implications as well.
Thank you. I'm going, just while he gets established, I'm going to go to there just to keep the conversation flowing.
Okay. So I'm here as a representative from the Mechatronics Systems Engineering Student Society. I've also been asked by the IAT Student Union and the Software Systems Student Union, whose president is right here, to speak on their behalfs as well. Just to give you a little background, those three groups of students represent about 1,500 students that are based completely out of Surrey and take all their classes out of Surrey. So each of those student unions took an informal survey to assess what our students are thinking about this issue. So I'll just cover a couple of the results quickly. For one, they were not very clear on a lot of the stuff about Build SFU, such as the payment structure. 38 voted no and 19 voted yes. Similar results for IAT and software systems. In terms of being able to attend the meeting and to support what Colin had said, 3 said they would be able to make it, 12 said maybe, 32 said they aren't able to make it, but would try and make it if it wasn't, like if it was held in Surrey. They just don't have time between classes. And 10 voted no, that they wouldn't be able to make it. And then another question was, would you be more likely to attend if it was held in Surrey? 34 voted yes, 18 maybe, and 5 no. So based on these results, which were all similar between IAT, software systems, and mechatronics, which represent 1,500 students that are completely based out of Surrey, this is their opinions on the overall issue. Thank you.
Sorry, and could you just state your name, please?
Sorry, Dylan Belvedere.
Dylan Belvedere, thank you. I'll now alternate to the yes side.
Right now. Yeah. Hello? Hi there, my name is Tony Honolino. Throughout the years with Build SFU, I was part of the advisory committee, and so on top of helping advise what we do from the student side of things, I also did a little bit of my own outreach. I went out to around, I believe, 2013, towards the beginning of that year, maybe even 2012. I went and approached music groups, since I'm part of the SFU jazz band, multiple times, encouraging them to come out. When I went to go see certain groups, one of the largest ones on campus, they would not respond most of the time. There was a specific instance when there was a campaign by Build SFU where they had all students get a certain amount of Build SFU dollars. They were little vouchers you put into boxes. Each box represented what type of space and how much of space would be allocated in the building. There were very few musicians that came out and very few music people that came out for that. And so the way the building is set up right now reflects the opinion of the students who came out. And it's not because the students did not know and that is their reason for not coming out, it's because they chose not to. I personally went to different music groups, and I personally went to different fine arts groups and performing arts groups. They've been approached so many times, and this meeting here, from what I can tell, it seems as though people didn't want to vote, and so we had to make decisions, because you have to make decisions at a certain point. And then all of a sudden something happens along the way afterwards when it's too late. And now they're saying we want to.
Sorry to interrupt you. Point of order. We're just tabling the motion.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Point of order sustained. Okay, so we'll move on then. Or unless you had anything specifically about tabling the motion, Tony?
Yes, I do. My point is that if we table this motion, then we will just have spent so much money, and it's as if this is an afterthought, where we are trying to give these people a time to speak. But I think that we will lose a lot more money by tabling this motion.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to this side.
Hello, my name is Iulian Ancescu. Basically, I want to address what the gentleman said regarding the loans with the banks, that they will expire by the time of the referendum in March. I'd just like to point out that Bank of Canada just lowered their interest rates. They're down from 1 to 0.75, and it has been a 1% since 2010. So the interest rates are even lower now. Therefore, I don't see how we will lose an offer from other banks when we should actually get a better offer now with the lower interest rates. And as other people have said, 2:30 now I'll have a class starting, so I won't be able to vote. So that's why I support the motion to have this vote as for a referendum. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll move to this side.
I would like to call the question.
Sorry, can you please state your name?
Stephanie Munez, M-U-N-E-Z.
Okay, so just to clarify, calling the question would end debate on this. It requires a seconder and a 2/3 majority to pass. Can I just get confirmation on that? Yes, okay, 2/3 majority to pass. So if we will put this to a vote if there is a second, and the consequence of that would mean that debate ends and we go right to voting on the motion to postpone indefinitely. Is there a seconder for calling the question? What's your name? Jamal Kett? Yes. Thank you. This motion is not debatable. We cannot debate this motion, so we will move to a vote now that it has been seconded. So, all those in favor of calling the question and of having the effect of ending the debate on the amendment? If you're in favor, just keep your cards up. We'll then move to the no votes.
I'm counting no's first. Yes is first.
Yes is first, then no. So we will count the yes votes first and then move to a no vote.
Hold them up high, guys.
If you're voting no, you will have an opportunity to do so, but just for ease of counting, please put your cards down. So please just keep your cards. You're voting yes, please do keep your cards up. We need to make sure that we get a count. And we will tally this, so please do bear with us as we calculate.
We're good? Can we count the no's?
Okay, so we've received confirmation from the scrutineers that the yes votes have been tallied.
Yeah.
We will now move to all those opposed. If you oppose calling the question, please raise your placard no. Please only raise the no placard. Do not raise yes placards. Please keep your no cards up until your respective scrutineer has told you to place them down.
passes with 78% in favor.
Are we sure? Okay, with 78% in favor, calling the question does pass. We will now move to a vote on the amendment. I would ask, I do not have the full text of it, it is quite long, but I would ask that Colin please read out the motion in its entirety, and we will then move to a vote on it.
Whereas we have been recently informed that SFSS legal counsel with expertise in the BC Society Act has given legal opinion that the vote to approve the debenture can be held via online referendum in March of this year. Whereas many students have expressed the desire to vote here today but cannot attend due to work, school, or other rigid obligations. Whereas this meeting has been scheduled during peak instructional hours. Whereas the Memorandum of Understanding of September 2012 between SFU and the SFSS planned for Build SFU construction to begin in the January of 2016. Therefore, voting in March would not cause a delay according to the original plans. Whereas it states in point 2C that the mandate of the SFSS is to promote meaningful undergraduate participation, and in point 2D to facilitate collective action by undergrads at SFU, be it resolved to table indefinitely from the meeting agenda item 5A, the Build SFU project debenture, with the intention of holding it as a referendum question online in March.
Thank you. So we will now vote on the motion to postpone indefinitely. All those in favor of postponing indefinitely? So this means that the agenda item today would not be addressed or voted on.
I got you guys' vote, thanks.
This means that we would not vote on agenda item 5A today. Please double check that for me. I'm just waiting until they're finished. The yes has been counted?
Yeah.
Okay, all the yes votes have been counted. We will now move to the no votes. If you do not want to postpone indefinitely, effectively voting on the motion today. Please keep your no placards up. You are voting no if you do not want to postpone indefinitely. This means if you want to vote on the item today, you would vote no. Is everyone clear?
We're good? Okay.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
What is that?
50%.
Who's this?
this vote requires a simple majority, so the majority of votes cast. It's too late.
Should I give the votes? 251 in favor, 261 opposed.
So to clarify, with 251 people in favor of postponing indefinitely and 261 opposed, the motion to postpone indefinitely fails, and we will return to discussion of the main motion. I would ask that as we return to discussion, our scrutineers do a quorum count. I have noticed people coming and going. We need to ensure that we still have quorum in this meeting. Please do a quorum check. We can continue discussion, but I would ask that we ensure that quorum is still met. So we'll move to discussion. I'll move to the yes microphone.
Rebecca?
Would you like to speak?
Everyone, I would just like to remind you all, 4,800 hours by just the SFU the Build SFU street team. That's 200 full days of outreach. I understand that we have 3 campuses and that is difficult. But this is a vote that we have done twice now.
Okay, thank you. We will alternate to the side. And I would ask that the crowd please refrain from heckling. If you have something to say, I would ask that you come to the microphone. Please go ahead. Oh, Colin, I believe there's somebody behind you who'd like to speak that hasn't had an opportunity to do so, so I will cede
By all
to them.
means.
Hello, everyone. My name is Selena Wall. So I'm in opposition to this motion. I think that taking out a loan for $65 million is a little. I don't feel like it's. I don't feel like we've had a democratic mandate to go forward with this. I know that there was a referendum 2 years ago, but the amount of people who voted yes and the amount of people who voted no. It wasn't a very clear win. I mean, it was a win, but I also think that SFU has traditionally been a school for working class students, and that in 2022, $90 a semester is going to be an awful lot of money for people who are taking out student loans and who can't necessarily afford to buy food. So I think that we should really consider what approving this motion is going to mean for those students in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll alternate to this microphone.
My name is Kevin Kumar. The sound of it. I just want to say that Build SFU is about community. In the beginning stages, they did surveys, and these groups were not there. The choir groups, the groups that were looking, they want to see what the students wanted and what the students want to build. And in those stages, those research stages, these groups were not there. Now, Build SFU is about SFU as a whole. It won't affect, of course, it won't be able to make every single person happy, but it'll be able to hit the majority of people and build a massive sort of room and a building that we could call our own, that we could do events in, that has study spaces, that has potential for massive things. Of course, it won't be able to make everybody happy, but it'll make our school in general a lot better. And if we vote this down, then it means that this won't exist for the next 50 years or whatever. And that's huge. That is really important for everybody. So sure, we're paying for it, but that means that the next 50 years, 100 years of students that go to our school will have this space. And that's important, that's huge, right? I think that's why a lot of us are here, so.
Thank you. Okay, I will move to this side. Oh, sorry, again, I think there was somebody behind you who has not yet had an opportunity to speak.
I'll cede my floor.
Okay, thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Colin. I am from No to Build SFU, and I am going to cut to the chase. This is a preemptive counterpoint to something that many Build employees, members of Build, and members of the street team have said, and that is that the Build project is inevitable, that it cannot be changed, that it cannot be stopped, that the meeting here today is just a formality to approve the loan, and otherwise everything else is completely set in stone. This is not the case. There is nothing that prevents us from, one, removing the levy that funds Build SFU, or through democratic process mandating that Build SFU take a different direction with the project. Several things can happen today. There are a number of potential futures. One is that here we are today in this room, we vote yes, and the project continues as planned, for better or for worse. Another is that we vote no. Okay, what happens then? That means that the student population has not given the board permission to get a loan. What then we intend to do is present two referendum questions. One says, are you in favor of removing the Build SFU levy? The second one says, are you in favor of severing the stadium portion from the Build project? These sound contradictory, but I assure you that you aren't. I assure you that they aren't. If you are against the entire thing, you will vote yes to severing, or to the levy referendum. If you want the project as it is, or if you wish that that just the sub comes to an existence, then you would vote no for that. And then vote yes for severing the stadium. We feel that there are a lot of motivations for reworking the project, particularly with regards to the stadium. I know many people are in favor of the idea of a sub. I in particular am not against the idea of a student union building. I recognize that it will provide a lot of things for students. However, I don't think the way the project exists today is in the best interest of students. To people who have an interest in seeing the stadium come to life, we believe that the university has significant motivation and the resources to build the stadium separate from the Build SFU project. If in particular you are for the idea of a student union building, but you don't think that the stadium should be part of it for a number of reasons, be they economical, ethical, and so on, then we have the opportunity through a no vote today to reach that potential future where we are able to have those referendum questions, which would allow more people on all campuses, all students, not just the people here today, to vote on this extremely important issue that is going to affect the next 3 decades of students. Thank you.
Thank you. I will move to the yes side of the microphone. Please state your name.
Richard Vickery. Is it not possible that we can, if this doesn't pass, if getting the money for the sub doesn't pass today, that we can go to alumni to pay for it? I would once in a position, I would gladly pay for the student building.
Would you like someone to respond to that from up here, or is that just a rhetorical question?
That is an amendment.
I can't rule that in order. That's not an amendment.
All right. Okay.
Would you like a response to that, or was that rhetorical?
All right, if you'd like to respond to that.
Okay, our Vice President External can offer a brief response.
Sure, thank you. I'll be very brief. So over the last 8 months, we've looked into acquiring sponsorship for the project. After doing so, we understood that it was incredibly complicated and incredibly expensive. There's a great deal of work that goes into something like that. And because of the amount of work required and the complications, we've decided to hold off. We have not ruled it out, but there are opportunities coming up to possibly work with Simon Fraser University and investigate further. When the SFU's 50-year anniversary campaign is complete, there may be an opportunity there to work with the university department that has expertise. But to look into having an external party fund the project before you've broken ground and started building it might be seen as presumptuous. And so that's why we're holding off for now and biding our time and seeing if there's an opportunity later.
Thank you. I will now alternate, I guess the last person to speak was on the yes side, so I will go to the no.
All right. Hi, my name is Yvette Rancourt. I'm kind of really nervous. It seems to me that as students, we can always find a space to sleep, a place to study, and a place to play video games. But one thing that is a lot harder for some of us is to find money. I know a lot of people who currently work a couple full-time jobs and have student loans, and they've had to drop out. So this is kind of a big deal for some people, and I just don't want financial issues to be more of a burden in the future for future generations than I guess they are now. Secondly, a lot of things about this whole Build SFU thing kind of bother me on a moral level, I guess. I just really don't like, I mean, of course, it's great, people volunteering to talk about, Build SFU, all those hours that you mentioned, but really, if you're only talking about one side, I don't see how that is too helpful.
That's out of order. If you'd like to offer a point, please, you can get in line.
I was also just going to say another thing. We're counting show of hands. This isn't really high school. I would feel a lot more comfortable for spending so much money if we were having an actual physical record of the votes cast that weren't being counted by, are you guys members of the SFSS who are doing the scrutineers? So, I have really bad eyesight, and not that I'm saying anything about your guys' eyesight, but I know that human errors can happen, whether you're missing one person or counting two people. So, I voted for the tabling earlier, but that didn't really work out. So, I guess I just hope, okay, I think I'm done. I'll let the next person go.
Thank you. We'll move to the yes side.
My name is Keno Roy. As someone who works minimum wage and pays for undergraduate tuition, I know that so many hours have gone into this already, and hours that have been paid for by my tuition and all of your guys's as well. And I think that delaying this is not getting a loan it's going to waste my money. It's going to waste all of our money, and I don't think that that's reasonable. I think that's all I want.
Thank you. We'll move to the no side.
Hello there. My name is Ryan Uchin. So leading up to this event, I did a lot of research. I had many conversations with one of the at-large representatives. I, through fortune, ended up being in a class with two people who would go on to start the No to Build SFU campaign. So knowing both of these sides, I decided, and especially with a project that would directly benefit me so much as a varsity athlete and other varsity athletes as well, I decided to go in, do a lot of research. I've thoroughly read your guys' website. I've looked over all of the points on the Build SFU Facebook page, and I assume that all of you being at SFU, you're all wonderful, intelligent, smart, attractive people. So I figured that all of you would have come to this meeting, you would have been informed, you would have had an opinion, and much like I was, you would have been ready to cast a vote. So it came as a great shock to me when I walked in through those doors and sat down at 12:45 that we had this nice, lovely screen here playing what basically amounted to a infomercial for Build SFU, and I can't think of any other way to describe that except offensive to all of you. I mean, did anyone feel like they came in here uninformed or that they needed this? Or does anyone as well feel that if we're going to present 45 minutes of tape highlighting foosball tables and where the Xboxes are going to be, that, I mean, we can look into some points regarding the financials of the institution or what truly counts as a representative vote. To me, it just seems profoundly undemocratic and either willfully tasteless or authoritarian to present such information immediately before the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to the yes side.
Hello, I'm Adrienne Marino. I am president of the SFU Concert Orchestra. I mean, yes, I'm in favor to have rehearsal space, as I know a lot of other music clubs are, and I can count there are over 6 clubs here that would benefit from it greatly. I'm not here to advocate for rehearsal space for musicians, but I would like to express that if this becomes a referendum, it's a waste of my money, it's a waste of your money, it's going to cost us more money. The project is still approved, so I mean, even if we push back the loan, it's going to cost us more money in the end. If we vote on this right now, we can probably save money, and I think we should do it right now. I mean, this is huge. This is for us. It's our community. I know for a fact that I walk around campus every day, and I usually sit in the hallway because I can't find space to study or to sit down and eat. And even though this is my last semester, I want to leave SFU students and the orchestra with something, and I think that's the Student Union building, and we should vote on it now. Thank you.
Thank you. I will alternate to the no side.
Oh, Jesus, I'm nervous. Oh, okay, all right, I'm Cody. Basically, everything that I wanted to say was more or less, people covered it before. I noticed a lot of people from either side throwing around, how much money this is gonna cost. On the subject of voting on it, now and the sense of community that it's gonna create, very true. This is something that affects everybody, creating a sense of community. But I feel that if we vote right now, it isn't effectively representing all of the people that this is going to affect in the long run. So I think that we would be better off reconsidering this at a later time. That is all.
Thank you, Cody. And could you please say your last name?
Cody Smedley.
Thank you. I will move now to the yes side, if our speaker is ready.
I just had a question. You mentioned earlier that I think it was 4,800 hours have been spent. Was that time paid? And how much were they paid per hour?
I can speak to that. It's stipulated in the SFSS collective agreement. I believe it's $14.58 per hour. Thank you. Correct? Thank you. So I will take that as a point of information, and we'll go to the yes side.
I don't know about you guys, but I kind of want to leave. So I'm going to make a motion to pass the question. Call the question. Yeah, pardon me. And,
is there a
Nicholas
seconder to
Chapman,
call the
if you
question?
need my name.
Okay, yes. Sorry, please say your name.
Oh, yeah. Nicholas Chapman.
Thank you. Okay, so there's been a motion put forward to call the question. Is there a seconder? Seconded. Jamal Kat. Okay. As previously noted, calling the question is not a debatable motion, but does require a 3/4 vote in favor. So the effect of this motion, or sorry, 2/3 majority, my apologies. And so the effect of this vote would be to end discussion on the main motion and proceed to a vote. So I will first ask all those in favor of calling the question. Please raise your placards, yes. Please keep your key cards up until you've been waved down by a respective scrutineer.
I know. I've been like right at the front of the mic both times when the calls are I should just camp here. But then they would just throw all the votes through, so it's not worth it.
Could our scrutineers confirm whether or not all the yes votes have been counted? Yes?
Okay. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, thank you. We will now move to a vote of all those opposed to calling the question. Please raise your no placards.
I don't think it's gonna matter all that much.
That's what I'm trying to find out. I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to find out. Yeah.
Someone wants to know when you interject with the motion for the ballot. Specifically the question, would it be after?
Like a secret ballot? I'm just trying to get an answer on that right now. Okay. I'm not sure.
So indicative of the project.
Sorry? You can? Okay. I just don't understand how that motion would be introduced. Is it a privileged motion that takes precedence? Is that how that's allowed? Yes, so you can call for a secret ballot vote after the question has been called successfully. But I just don't know if that's a privileged motion is what I'm trying to figure out.
What's the problem?
Calling for secret ballot.
Should I announce this vote?
Is it calculated? Okay, yeah.
Fast. The votes passes, 74% in favor and 26% opposed.
So the question has been called.
How does one introduce a secret ballot vote if the question has been called? Thank you. Okay, so the question has been called. I understand that there is a motion from the floor to ask for a secret ballot vote that is permitted after the question has been called.
Hi, my name is Caitlin McInnes.
It's undebatable. You just moved the motion.
My name is Caitlin McInnes. Whereas it is more in line with democratic principles to allow people to vote according to their conscience and without peer pressure. Whereas voting by ballot is a more accurate method of counting votes. Whereas certain student groups and individuals have expressed concern over repercussion should they openly take a stance, or should their members be known to have voted a certain way, be it resolved to vote by secret ballot.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that motion? Melissa Lee. Bestos? I'll take Melissa Lee. She was at the microphone. And to clarify, this motion is not debatable and requires a simple majority to pass. So we will move to a vote with placards on taking a secret ballot vote. So all those in favor of taking a vote by secret ballot, please raise your placards. Yes. We will count the yeses first. Right now. It would mean that we vote in this room with a secret ballot, which we have prepared. It's going to be close. We have to do the vote. Are the ballots ready?
Yeah.
Have all the yes votes been tallied?
Can our scrutineers confirm all the yes votes have been tallied? Seeing affirmative from all scrutineers, we will now move to all those opposed to voting by secret ballot.
Jeremy, do me a huge favor and just pour me a little bit more water. Thank you so much. My voice is getting a little parched.
Katie, what is this? 13?
Okay, so all the negatives have been counted. We're just tallying. Please bear with us.
The vote fails. 268 opposed, 179 in favor.
So to clarify then, this means that the motion to vote via secret ballot has failed. We will vote with our placards on the main motion. Okay? So we will now move to a vote. Unless there is a request from the floor, I will not read the motion in its entirety. I'm seeing no request from the floor to read the motion in its entirety. So I would just ask everyone to refer to your meeting packages for the full text, and we will now move to a vote via our placards on the main motion, which summarizes. It authorizes the directors for a period of 1 year from the date of the meeting today to borrow the funds required for the project and to issue a debenture to secure repayment of those funds. All those in favor? And a reminder, this requires a 75% majority.
Honestly, I don't know why it takes so long. I'm getting out of breath as I'm counting aloud. Yeah, I'm trying to get up to like 60, but it's next.
I'm just looking, okay, still counting. Okay, all of the affirmative votes have been tallied. We will now move to all those opposed. Please raise your placards if you are opposed to the motion. All votes have been tallied and we're currently tabulating, and we will announce the result shortly. We will announce the result before we proceed with the meeting. I'm sorry? I still can't hear you. 75%. I'm sorry? And again, a reminder, the threshold is 75%.
65% in favor.
With 65% in favor, the motion fails. Okay, we'll move to the next item on our agenda, which is also an item of special business. The notice of meeting package and agenda includes text of the motion SGM 2015, January 21st, 05, which is the creation of a new bylaw related to the Build SFU student levy, which reads as follows. Be it resolved that the following bylaw be created and accepted as presented. The Society may not revoke, reduce, or otherwise cancel a duly approved student society fee that has been implemented for the purposes of repaying a loan made to the Society or on the basis of which a loan has been made to the Society if the effect of such revocation, reduction, or cancellation would be to cause the Society to be unable to repay the loan as it became due. The intention of this new bylaw is to give comfort to the lender of the Build SFU project that the student levy approved by the members of the referendum of March 22nd, 2012 will not be revoked while the loan is still outstanding. This is an important insurance for any lender for the Build SFU project. As I see people pouring out, I think it'd be prudent to do a quorum check before we proceed. So I'm just going to hold off speaking further until such a quorum check can be conducted. If the scrutineers are, can I confirm the scrutineers are conducting a quorum check? Okay, we'll just wait until people finish filtering out. I do encourage you to stay though, there's lots of important stuff on the agenda.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a point of privilege. I couldn't hear what she was saying.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so just to confirm, we have 326 people in the room and do still have quorum. We can proceed. Okay. Thank you everybody for staying. So as I was saying, so we're on the motion, which is on your agenda 5B, SFSS bylaw creation, special resolution. And so before we move to moving and seconding the motion, I will just acknowledge I am aware of a clerical error in the motion in that it does not specify the number of the bylaw. And I do understand that there is a plan to make a motion to clarify this procedural issue. The motion to amend itself is not a special resolution, so only requires a 50% vote in favor to amend. However, the larger motion is a special resolution and does require 75% vote in favor in order to pass. So with that said, I will ask, is there a mover to approve the special resolution? Andy Untawala? Okay, thank you. Is there a seconder for the motion? What's your name?
Jake Ackerell?
Shane Cackerell?
Jake Ackerell.
Jake Ackerell? Thank you. Great. So the motion has been moved and seconded. The mover does have the privilege to speak first, if they care to.
Andy?
No? So I will go to the first person at the microphone.
As a point of privilege, when you were speaking earlier, due to everyone leaving, I couldn't actually hear what you were saying.
Oh, certainly. Would you like me to read the motion?
Yes, please.
Certainly. So the motion reads...
Point of order.
Yeah.
Do we have a minutes taker?
I'm sorry?
Do we have a minutes taker? You're sitting on for a moment. It didn't seem like minutes were being taken.
Okay, to my knowledge, there are minutes being taken. Can that be confirmed? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so just back to the main motion that we're debating, debating. Be it resolved that the following bylaw be created and accepted as presented, that the society may not revoke, reduce, or otherwise cancel a duly approved student society fee that has been implemented for the purpose of repaying a loan made to the society or on the basis of which a loan has been made to the society if the effect of such revocation, reduction, or cancellation would be to cause the society to be unable to repay the loan as it became due.
I would like to make an amendment.
Okay. There's nobody waiting, so I'll allow him to do that.
I would like to amend the be it resolved clause to read, be it resolved by special resolution that the following bylaw be created and accepted as presented in the form of bylaw 24, student society fees.
Okay, so that is the clerical change that I'd mentioned earlier. Is there a second for that amendment to the motion? And sorry, could you state your name? Selena Wall? Thank you. So the amendment has been moved and seconded. As such, we are discussing the amendment. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
The amendment itself or the entire...
On the amendment to the motion, which would add, I believe, the text that is on the screen. Okay, so I'm seeing no discussion on the amendment to the motion itself. So we will then move to a vote to approve the amendment to the motion, after which, if it's successful, we return to debate on the main motion. All those in favor of the amendment? Okay, all the affirmative votes have been tallied. Can I confirm that from the scrutineers? Okay, all the affirmative votes have been tallied. We'll move to all those opposed to the amendment. Just by visual inspection, I'm seeing only one point of opposition, so just going to confirm that with the scrutineers. If there's no opposition, in light of that, I would ask if everyone's comfortable with taking that amendment as accepted, just for the sake of time. I'm seeing no opposition from the floor, so we will take that amendment as accepted and now return to debate on the main motion as amended. Again, is there any debate on the motion?
As the motion to approve the loan did not go through, I argue that there is little point in this passing as well.
Thank you. Sir, any points of information, questions, comments?
My name?
Yes, please.
Tyler Bryan.
I'd just like to bring up that this bylaw itself does not apply to the Build SFU loan. It applies to, in the future, the SFSS taking out a loan and thus not being permitted to remove any duly appointed fees. So this is not a bylaw that has to do directly with Build SFU, so it should be considered separate, and the fact that the previous motion failed shouldn't affect the vote on this.
Okay. Is there any further questions, debate? Okay. I will cede to the person who hasn't had an opportunity to speak. Please go ahead.
I'd like to call the question.
And sir, could you please state your name?
Curtis Puke, I'd like to call the question.
Thank you. Is there a seconder to call in the question? What's your name? Amar Masalman? Masalmo? Masalme. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So with the motion to call the question moved and seconded, we'll move to a vote on calling the question, which would end debate on the motion before us. All those in favor of calling the question? I think it's pretty clear that it will pass, but we're just going to tally all the votes to confirm. Have all the affirmatives been tallied? Great. We'll move to all those opposed to calling the question.
Is there any more opposition?
Can I just ask how many points of opposition there were?
18 oppositions.
19? 18 out of
300 people.
Okay, so there was 18 points of opposition. We're just tallying the yeses, but I think that clearly meets the 2/3. Is everyone comfortable with moving forward, or shall we wait to tally? There's no opposition to moving forward with that, accepting the question as called? Okay, so I'm seeing none. We will accept the question as called and move to a vote on the main motion, which has now been amended to read, "Be it resolved by special resolution that the following bylaw be created and accepted as presented in the form of Bylaw 24, Student Society Fees. The Society may not revoke, reduce, or otherwise cancel a duly approved student society fee that has been implemented for the purpose of repaying a loan made to the Society or on the basis of which such a loan has been made to the Society, if the effect of such revocation, reduction, or cancellation would be to cause the Society to be unable to repay the loan as it is due." All those in favor? And again, to reiterate, this requires a 75% majority to pass. Have all the affirmatives been tallied? Okay, I'm seeing confirmation from all the scrutineers. We will move to all those opposed
Here. No, we have more. 68% in favor, does not meet the 75% threshold.
Okay, so the motion for the SFSS bylaw creation fails. And that concludes the special business of the meeting. We will now move on to item 6A, Greek letter organizations. So the first non-binding question for the members, as set out in item 6A in the agenda, and relates to the existing ban on and off-campus fraternities and sororities. Materials related to this question, providing background and context, have been circulated in advance. As this is a non-binding opinion poll, there are no thresholds like the 75% or the 50% or actions that will directly result. It is simply to gauge opinion. I understand that the Greek letter organizations seek the opinions of the members of the Simon Fraser Student Society on the following question. Are you in favor of having Greek letter organizations at Simon Fraser University? Although this is an opinion poll, we will continue to keep with the prescribed format of Robert's Rules of Order and ask for a mover and seconder for the motion in front of you, which reads, whereas in 2008, a non-binding plebiscite question was posed asking if students were in favor of Simon Fraser University rescinding its ban towards on and off-campus fraternities and sororities. Whereas the question passed with 56.95% in favor, whereas the SFSS cannot house Greek letter organizations as clubs due to policy and insurance restraints, whereas since 2008, 5 Greek letter organizations have been established at SFU under the SFSS Club, Greek Representation and Interest Development, GRID, whereas the established Greek letter organizations have been working with the SFSS in order to communicate with the membership, whereas the November 6, 2014 Town Hall constitutes an open dialogue venue between the general membership and students involved with Greek letter organizations, whereas Greek letter organizations seek the opinion of the general membership, are you in favor of having Greek letter organizations at Simon Fraser University? Is there a mover for this motion? Could you state your name? Tyler Bryan, thank you. Is there a seconder for this motion? Stephanie Muniz, thank you. We'll now move to debate and open the floor.
Hello, my name is Tyler Bryan. I'm currently the president of Phi Kappa Pi fraternity here on campus. We've been established here since 2012. What I wanted to do was to speak. I know a lot of people on campus who aren't involved in the Greek community are unaware of exactly what has happened since 2012, what our intentions are, and exactly what we do. Since 2012, 3 fraternities and 2 sororities have been established, as mentioned before, Phi Kappa Pi, Tau Kappa Epsilon and Delta Kappa Epsilon as our 3 fraternities, and Delta Alpha Theta, Kappa Beta Gamma as our 2 sororities, and we also have at this time 1 interest group as a sorority that is also being established right now as a colony. To add on to this, there is only 5 on this list. There are 2 professional fraternities on campus that cater to medical students and another one that caters to business students. So as of right now, our current membership is just over 160 members in our complete community with those 5 organizations combined. It does not include the professional fraternities. Our projected numbers for the end of this term are going to be over 200 students. And this has been essentially over 3 periods of recruitment. We've been able to go from, for the first organization, 21 members to a total of 200. So there is a definite interest on campus for this. On campus, we have had the opportunity to participate in a significant number of events. Combined, we have raised over $30,000 for charity in 2 years. And that is actually 3 semesters, not 2 complete years, but over $30,000 has been raised combined. We have over 8,000 hours of volunteer service amongst all of our members. We are heavily involved in, obviously, the democratic process at SFU, as well as many other clubs. All of our groups have a GPA requirement that is above the SFU minimum of 2.0. We offer study hours, tutoring, and additional resources for those seeking to graduate who have questions or concerns or difficulties when it comes to graduating. Through our network of alumni and active members, this semester we reported a 30% employment rate through simply the connections that we have across the country and in the local area. All of our members who have been seeking part-time or full-time employment have been given opportunities, if not jobs, through our network. We also have internal scholarships, which over the last 2 years have provided $5,000 to our membership. And this is only as a startup organization. We have yet to have the opportunity to set up our own internal scholarships. These are offered on a national basis. One of the main questions that comes up with Greek organizations is how do they differ from current student organizations on campus. I have personally been at SFU for the last 3 years, having transferred from another university, and going through the clubs days tables, there are many clubs that are available to SFU, and the one thing I noticed is that they're all very specific clubs. If you have a specific interest, it caters to that interest. You can dedicate yourself to dance. You can dedicate yourself to a particular student group that interests you. But if you want something more, which I think everybody in this room wants to see SFU become more social, to improve SFU in some way, it's very difficult to achieve that through a specific goal-oriented club. Greek organizations are mutable. They are able to change as per our membership's desires. If our fraternity, for example, wanted to dedicate ourselves to charity, we could focus on charity for an entire year. If we wanted to move away from that and improve the social life of FFU, which is currently the main goal of almost all of the organizations that have been established, we can take the time and we can do that. So it's an organization that changes based on our interest and based on the membership's desires. We are not strictly held by a prerequisite to spend all of our time dedicated to one cause or one interest. Students have an opportunity to meet people with like interests. They have an opportunity to also be involved in something dedicated to the university. We are not simply dedicated to ourselves. The Greek community is a community in the sense that while you may join one organization, we are involved with each other, and we have almost every single one of our events are open to the public when it comes to our on-campus activities. We do host activities for our organization, just as every club does, but you will notice, and I hope you've noticed our presence on campus when it comes to hosting charity events, fundraising, and a lot of our social events that we have had. We also offer something to the school beyond just the students. We are a growing organization with 200 members, obviously, in the last 2 years. We have been asked by the Highland Pub to have reoccurring events, as our events are highly successful in our ability to socially invite and have people attend our events. We offer a very large body of individuals who's highly dedicated and involved in this process, in voting, in being involved in leadership positions, and writing peak articles, and being active in this community. Every single person I've ever spoken to has given some sense of SFU being a commuter school. We want to change that, but right now the current structure that we are having difficulty with, and why this question is being posed to everybody, is we're having a difficult time being as successful and helping people beyond our organization, as we are not able to benefit due to some of the benefits that clubs receive. My last point I'd like to bring up before opening the floor to some discussion, I really would like to hear from people who both support, have questions, or are opposed to the organization. We had a town hall that was very successful, but we want to hear from more than the people who are directly involved in our community. So if you have an opinion or you have something that you would like to say and you're not strictly for one or the other, please come up and say it, because without this kind of discussion, we won't be able to see what kind of interest there is at this university. And I personally know, I'd like to speak on behalf of all of the Greek organizations, that the biggest challenge that we face is unfortunately being judged by the preconceptions and the prejudice that comes along with our titles of being a fraternity and a sorority. You have all probably hear the word fraternity and something will come into your mind. Chances are, if you hear the word that there's a fraternity at SFU, you probably have no idea what we do or the kind of activities that we hold. So I would hope that you avoid passing judgment without knowing the details, ask us the questions here, and if we are not able to satisfactorily ask them, please come and speak to us directly. We are attempting to overcome this prejudice. This is the 21st century. We don't have the same problems that were around in the 1960s at this campus. I can tell you for a fact that there are no panty raids as part of our activities in a fraternity. Like I said, this is now 50 years since the last organization tried to colonize at SFU, and I like to think that as a society we've probably gone past those kind of problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to discussion on the no side. I will just point out the meeting is scheduled to end at 3:30. However, we can stay in this space until 4 p.m. So if there's interest, there is an opportunity to extend the meeting by half an hour if there's a motion on the floor to do so. We'll move to the no side.
Hi, everyone. I'm not very good at public speaking, so you'll have to forgive me. It's great to finally make it up to the mic. Big fan of that one. In terms of Greek organizations, a little bit about myself. Like, I am Greek. My last name is Betsos, which is not really that Greek of a name, but my family has a long kind of history of being, Greek. And so when, I hear about Greek organizations and, you've got like the letters from my alphabet, on your shirts, big fan. I just don't really understand why, you point out that there's issues with, fraternities and sororities in the past, and a lot of those issues, still exist in the United States. Just don't understand why we need an organization that calls itself a fraternity or a sorority to kind of exist within the current SFU framework system. If you want to go do that, like, outside of SFU, that's totally cool. Like, can't really stop you. But I find there's issues with the idea of splitting people up based on, some idea of like, gender, women do this and like men do that. Men are in frats, women are in sororities. And that seems to be the major stumbling point. I understand that you guys do, like really good things. There's tons of great, outlets on campus for philanthropy and doing, things that like really matter to communities. I cannot get past the fact that, these are gender-based organizations that have, a history of, not treating people properly. I know you guys don't do hazing, but why go through this whole process of being like, we're a sorority, we're a fraternity, and using like this whole like idea of like being Greek to kind of further that agenda, and that's probably why I'm gonna end up voting no unless I can be assuaged otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you. I will alternate to the yes side.
Hi, I'm Philippa Swartz. So I'd like to thank Side No for bringing up some good points. Today I'm not gonna, even though I am in a sorority, I'm not gonna talk to you about how great sororities are or how everyone should join. Instead, I'd actually like to address basically what Side No was just saying and why is this necessary at SFU. So for me, the question isn't, are sororities and fraternities a good thing or a bad thing? That's a subjective question. But the question I think everyone here should be asking themselves is, who should have the right to decide if a group is allowed? Should it be the SFSS? Should it be everybody who votes here today? In my opinion, no one should have this right. If we look at the Canadian Constitution, every Canadian has the right to the freedom of association. We can form groups, we can leave groups, we can be friends with who we want. That is our right. Now, something I love about SFU is progressive, we're liberal, like everyone has lots of rights, and we can see this in the fact that there's approximately 200 clubs at SFU. There's a club for everyone. There's clubs for things that are just kind of fun, like tea or Quidditch, but then there's clubs that are about more kind of serious issues like religion, politics. Now, with all these opposing ideologies, obviously not everyone is gonna agree on everything. Obviously, if you're an atheist, you're not gonna go probably join a Christian club. Or if you're left-wing, you're not gonna wanna go join the right-wing club. But the fact is, if you don't like a club, for example, you don't like tea, are you gonna go try and shut down the tea club, say you shouldn't be a club because I don't like you? Absolutely not. Every club has the right to associate with whoever they want. So today, all I'm asking is that when you make your decision and vote about this issue, don't vote based on whether or not you like Greek organizations. vote please based on whether or not you support freedom at SFU. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to the negative side, and I will point out there's only 5 minutes remaining in discussion unless someone extends to move the meeting time.
So this is just a point of information. Due to the gender binary ways that your clubs are, structured, I'm just wondering what that means for genderqueer students or transgender students. Will they find a place within your societies?
Okay, I will lead that to the subsequent speaker to address, if that's okay. I'm seeing lots of people in line. Is that okay? Okay. So that was a point of information, so I'll take that as the next speaker in line, or?
Yeah, I will address that. Hi, everybody. My name is Christine, and I am the current president of the Kappa Beta Gamma sorority here at Simon Fraser University. So first, I'd like to just, a lot of things that we have when people talk to us about sororities, they say it's anti-feminist, or they talk about the gender stereotypes that come with being in a sorority. I would like to first remind everybody that the definition of feminism is equal rights for both genders. And within Greek life, there is a place for both genders. We accept every single gender, no matter what you identify with, be it queer, trans, or anything like that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll alternate to this side.
In the interest of time, I would like to call the question.
Okay, the motion to call the question has been put forward. Is there a second to call the question? Alex Betstos has seconded. We'll now move to a vote on calling the question. All those in favor of calling the question? Just from my vantage point, it looked like a pretty clear majority, but we'll double check. Okay, have all the yes votes been tallied? Can the scrutineers confirm the yes votes have been tallied? Seeing confirmation for all scrutineers. All those opposed to calling the question? Okay, so it looks like all the negatives have been tallied. Can we just get a quick count on how many opposition there are so we can move forward? I would also ask, we are at 3:29 p.m., but I think that the general sense is that people would want to move to a vote on this. Is the Assembly comfortable going slightly past 3:30 to allow for the vote? Is there any opposition to this? Okay, I'm seeing no opposition, so if we hit the 3:30 mark, I will will allow the vote to take place before adjourning. Okay, so the calling the question has passed. We will move to a vote on the non-binding opinion poll. In the interest of time, I will not read the question unless there is a request for me to do so. I'm seeing no request, so we'll move to the vote, non-binding opinion poll on, are you in favor of having Greek letter organizations at Simon Fraser University? It's out of order. Yeah, there will be a separate no vote once the affirmatives have been tallied. Can the scrutineers confirm that all no votes have been counted? Oh, I'm just seeing one still counting. Okay, just one moment, thank you. Yeah, we'll do no. Okay, have all the affirmatives been tallied? Great, we'll move to a vote. All those opposed? Okay, so we will tally those votes once they're counted and announce.
Yeah, after we count this, please do.
It's too late.
No, why? Yes. Yes.
Because we passed the end of the meeting time and nobody moved to extend.
Do it.
It's too late.
Oh, yes. Do it.
I already said that. No.
Can I motion to keep the meeting going? Can I make a motion to keep the SGM going a half an hour extension?
You want to move to extend to 4
I want to move
p.m.?
to extend to 4 p.m.
Sorry? Okay, so we can deal with that while the votes are still being tallied. Is there a second for that motion? Sorry, can you remind us of your name? Ryan Yuchin. Okay, there's a seconder. We'll move to a vote on extending the meeting. I believe it requires a 2/3 majority vote to extend the meeting. We only have the space until 4 p.m., so we physically can't be here any later than that, but we can go till 4. All those in favor of extending the meeting?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Yeah. I can double check that. I don't know off the top of my head.
Thanks, guys.
Well, it's unanimous.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, can somebody stop? She called another vote before we finished counting the thing.
It's all good. Just everyone just leave us alone, please. Just please leave us alone for now.
We don't have quorum. Shorty, we do not have quorum. We need to do counting. Before we do this one.
Well, they've already counted, so depending on their numbers, we'll know if we have quorum or not.
Here, we don't have quorum based on this vote.
Sorry?
Okay, wait a second.
We don't have quorum based on this
What are
vote.
these?
What's
What are these
the
two
number?
here?
It's
Extending the meeting.
140. 240.
Are all sections in TPAC?
Was there any abstention?
Are all sections in? Let me see.
We need to count.
There was abstentions, so.
There are many.
What was the vote to extend? Sorry?
I had a very large majority.
Okay. We're just trying to determine if quorum is still present. We had 240 votes cast, but there was many abstentions in the last votes. We're just trying to determine if quorum is still present.
Can I get all the floor captains to do a count, please?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126,
That's the count? 15?
Yep, 4. 31. Yep, thank you.
How many?
31. 17.
Do we have the tally on the Greek vote?
Huh?
How much?
5-0.
Okay.
No, we did it.
There was a tally. Yes, we took the brief vote.
I gave it to you. I gave it to
Do we have the tally?
Get the tally and then we'll move on.
Okay, and you were also in this report?
Okay. Adam, please let me do this. Sure. Do 285 or go?
Okay, yes, so we are still quorate. Do we have the tally of the last vote, the last non-binding plebiscite ready?
Not yet.
Okay, we're still working on that.
Do you have the tally for the extending debate?
No.
So we can continue with debate while that's being tallied.
Just in the interest of time, can I ask, is there anyone opposed to limiting, to extending the meeting till 4 p.m.?
We didn't do the notes for the extending meeting. I had like
Okay.
4 or something. Yeah.
Is there any opposition to that? If there is none, we'll take it as accepted and continue on while the votes are being tallied from the previous question. I'm seeing one last opportunity for opposition to extend. I'm seeing no opposition to the motion to extend the meeting. I will accept that as approved unanimously. We will move to the next order of business, which is item 6B. It's a further non-binding opinion poll. The motion reads, whereas the Food and Beverage Services, FBS, is comprised of the Highland Pub, the Higher Grounds Coffee Shop, the Ladle Vegetarian Restaurant, and Catering Services, whereas this is a non-binding opinion poll, whereas the SFSS is interested in seeking the members' opinions, are you in favor of continuing to operate the Food and Beverage Services? Is there a mover? Moved.
Adam Potvin. Adam Potvin.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for this motion? Seconded. I'm sorry? Stephen Ogilvie? Thank you. We'll move to discussion.
Thank you. So this stems from the SFSS board. And the spirit of this motion is to gauge public support of whether or not to continue the food and beverage services. To begin, I would like to state with why we're asking this in the first place. This is because the SFSS has conducted referendums for other very large services that we hold. For instance, we've had referendums surrounding the UPass program, the health and dental program, and the Build SFU project. Outside of these areas, the FBS is the costliest service that the SFSS offers, and so the board wishes to gauge public support for whether or not we want to continue this service, as big and honestly as expensive as it is. The deficit for this year is projected to be close to $400,000, and over the last, in fact, it's been higher in previous years as well. You can see it on your information package there. And while the FBS management, the new management has come in over the last 2 years now and has made substantial improvements to the efficiencies of the FBS, it still is likely to reach sizable deficits in the coming years. Obviously, there are many benefits to keeping the food and beverage services, most notably the Highland Pub. It's more or less a hub of social activity for many clubs and DSUs, Greek organizations as well. There are many club events hosted throughout this year and in years past. Many clubs have an excellent fundraising opportunity by hosting their events here and don't have to pay to book the space. They do need to pay for security, but they can use this space to fundraise. Obviously, the Highland Pub is also packed on many occasions for maybe hockey games or the FIFA World Cup. So again, just to reiterate, this is to gauge whether or not students, the members of the SFSS, think that $400,000 this year and deficits in the future is worth the service. Is it worth the price? And so non-binding, just to clarify, means that the board is not bound to make a decision based on the vote today. It does not force the board of directors to make any vote. This is unlike the Build SFU vote where it was, it needed to have 75% to pass. This is just more or less like a poll, something you'd find in, a political poll. It's just a non-binding opinion poll, essentially. And where do we go from here? There are no immediate plans to make any changes to the status quo. And so the board is of the opinion that it would be premature to make any plans of any type or scale without having an idea of what its membership wants. And so, yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam. I'll move to this side of the microphone and the first speaker.
Hi. Get a little closer. Whereas in the previous opinion poll, the question was called before a very significant point of information could be requested, namely, what are the effects on the insurance costs and how will those effects hit us as students? I call to reconsider.
I'm not entirely sure if this is in order in the middle of another motion pending.
I don't know when the correct spot to do that is.
Yeah. I'm just going to have to double check that. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer offhand. My sense is that we'd have to cease debate on this and go back to it. So I'm just going to confirm that.
I don't know. I don't know if that's my favorite place. No. Oh, really? No, I haven't got work.
Just let him pay now. This is still
Okay, so our meetings are governed by Robert's rules for the special general meeting, and so this motion would have to be, we can't do that in the middle of this motion, and so it is a non-binding opinion poll, has no force or effect, it was just meant to gauge, so we'd welcome further opportunities for conversation around that. Because there's been no decision made and the question was called, I'm going to rule to treat it as a settled point. And we'll go to the no side.
Well, it's actually not the no side. I'm just going to add few pieces of information on top of Adam's presentation. This is not arguing one way or the other. I just wanted to give a little bit of background about the operations of the food and beverage services being your VP student services. FBS has always meant to be a service, and the very definition of the service implies that it's subsidized and it's not necessarily ran to be a profitable business. The real question here is how much we are willing as a group to subsidize the service. This question was brought up multiple times over the years, and although there is no clear answer to that, we do acknowledge that the current level of deficit is very high. This issue was considered thoroughly a few years ago, and a long-term plan was established to first stop the increasing deficit and then start reducing that until it reaches a reasonable level. The pub was renovated a few years ago. A new general manager was hired with a mandate to reduce the losses and improve the operations of the food and beverage services. We believe that the results of the planning and the hard work of the previous boards and the general manager will start paying off very soon. And it would not be wise to halt the process now that we are very close to start seeing the results of all the work put into it. The second important financial information that I would like to share with you is an estimation of how much the food and beverage services would cost if we do shut them down. If all operations are shut down, we will have to pay almost $180,000 a year just to maintain the space. And I just wanted to add a little piece about the club's activities at the Highland Pub. So on average, we have 70 clubs, events, and fundraisers every year. SFSS clubs and DSUs raise at least $10,000 a year for their activities at the Highland Pub. Just wanted to add a few pieces of information, and then you guys can debate the motion.
Thank you. I'll alternate to the yes side.
Okay. I'm going to just really quick because I actually, in 16 minutes, have to be at work at the Highland Pub to serve you guys your free wings. So, yay. To start off with, I just want to go to the financial information that was handed out to you. To let you all know, I am the student union representative for QP, which is the union that all employees of the Highland Pub, Higher Grounds, the Ladle, and the catering are part of. And so I just wanted to point to the financial information that you've been provided. And as far as we are knowledgeable, this information is actually false, and most of the numbers are over $100,000 higher than the real numbers. So the numbers that I have as per an email from the general manager of the food and beverage services, the 2012 and 2013 deficit was not $535,000. It was $420,000. And then 2013 to 2014, the deficit was not $360,000, it was $244,000. And these are sizable differences in the deficit. There is also, in the same email that was sent out by the general manager to all of the staff, as well as I believe, as well as the board members, there is a $275,000 deficit approved by the board for the proposed, like for the following years. So these numbers do have to be adjusted accordingly and take that into account because they are false. And there has also been a renegotiation of the contract around the student employees, and numbers of debt have consistently been going down over the last 2 years. And besides all of that, there's also information on this thing that says there are 20 SFU students employed, which is also false. At the moment, there's actually 38 students employed, so that number is almost doubled. It provides very flexible, well-paid and stable employment for students that, as a student who works 2 jobs, it is the job that I can count on throughout my entire university career as something that funds my education. Without this job, I would be in a lot more financial issues than I am now, and it is available to all students for application, and they are primarily employed by students. So all of us who work there are students. It is also the only place on campus that really provides an area where students can go and gather and have fun, and it breaks down the boundaries between students, professors, administrators, everything like that. I mean, everyone in this room received a free coupon for wings. Everyone has probably at one point or another, or hopefully at one point or another, either had coffee from Higher Grounds, had soup from the Ladle, or had a drink at the Highland Pub. And these are institutions of SFU, and they should be maintained that way because they support, as the Greek organizations were saying, they support what we need at SFU, which is community and social activities. What else? Yeah. I think that's all I have to say, so yeah.
Thank you. So we'll move to the no side, and just pointing out we have 13 minutes left.
So I'm not really representing yes or no. Again, this is for the Surrey student organizations, which are mechatronics, IAD, and software systems, about 1,500 students out of Surrey. Just out of interest of our organizations, are we allowed to do a show of hands to see how many students here take all their courses in Surrey this semester?
In this room or in general?
Just in this room, just to see how many of these students were actually able to attend. Just out of interest for our organizations.
It's out of order, but I'll allow it very quickly. So is there Surrey students in the house?
That you're taking every single class in Surrey this semester. So I see one hand.
Yo, right down here, man.
2 hands.
3.
3, 4, 5. So just 6, 7.
Okay, so
A very low amount. It just all our student societies are very concerned about this and the fact that our students, despite the efforts made, really aren't likely to come show up here. Anyways, on to the question. We did have survey results, and most students of ours were pretty much indifferent. They're like, whatever, no big deal. There were some students that said, yeah, they like it because the pub is great, and then there was another smaller percentage that were opposed to it because, of course, all these services are offered in Burnaby. So I'd just like to raise their concerns there, and yeah, the services are great, but it'd be nice to see what can be done to help represent our students and what can be done for the Surrey students, because like the speaker before was saying, I think all the students here have been to all the services. I know that tons of our students haven't actually used these services that are part of their student society fees. So just think about the Surrey students coming up, and that's about it.
And can you just say your name?
Dylan Belvedere.
Thank you. I'll move to the yes side, whomever is next.
Hey, I'm Camille Jasinski. I'm going to be really quick before I have an anxiety attack, because I hate speaking in front of people, but I do not mind serving you. I have been a server at the Highland Pub for 2.5 years. I am obviously in favor of continuing its operations. Like my friend and coworker Sophie, who had to go to work, mentioned, we actually have a projected deficit of $290,000 in 2014-15, which is what we were given, the information we were given in an email. I'm basically just, we're in favor of keeping the pub open. It's the only place on campus where people can actually go have a cheap beer, congregate, hang out. You guys know it, we know it, we've seen you drunk, you've probably seen us drunk. I've met some of my nearest and dearest friends working at the Highland Pub and going to the Highland Pub, and I think to discontinue its operation would be very bad for the student happiness. Bye.
Thank you. We'll move to the no side.
This isn't opposition. This is just to clarify the discrepancies or the perceived discrepancies in the financial information. Back in 2010, I believe, the board of directors made a move to reallocate operating costs, so heat, electricity, from the pub and consolidate it into the entire organization. And so the way we get charged for heat and electricity and operating costs, like overhead, is on a square footage basis, and the school charges us. So a few years ago, the board made a move to switch these operating costs, reallocate these operating costs from the FBS and into the entire organization. This year, the board made a decision to reallocate the operating costs based on the square footage that the FBS space takes up. And based on the space that the FBS takes up, which is how we get charged by the school for operating costs, about $110,000 or so in operating costs have been not added back, but have been reallocated back to the pub. And that would account for the discrepancy, not only this year, but in years past, or the perceived discrepancy. It's more or less an accounting error. So unless students don't think that, I mean, usually if you run a restaurant or any sort of business, you have to pay operating costs, and that was the rationale behind this year's board deciding to reallocate back operating costs to the FBS. It's because like any other private enterprise, you have to pay for pay for operating costs. And so the rationale we felt was sound behind that, and that is why the deficit is higher than it would be without those operating costs, evidently. And so the numbers we see here include those operating costs. And it should also be known that this document has been vetted by the general manager of the FBS, including the financial information in addition to the number of student employees. It says approximately 20. Again, I didn't personally have access to the number of student employees, but from my understanding, it was vetted by the general manager. And we're not attempting to try to deceive anyone here. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to the next speaker.
Yeah.
And I would just, sorry, we have 8 minutes left, so please everyone keep your comments brief in order to allow us to vote.
One thing I'd like to say to everybody is that as VP Student Life, I'm generally at the pub partying with most of you. But the thing is, when you see FBS, what you don't realize is that is the Lato as well as the Island Coffee. Right now, for those of you who have a little bit of business background, we have 2 monopolizing companies on our campus. That's Starbucks, where most of you probably go for your sorority meetings, or even your fraternity meetings, or even your African Students Association meetings and whatnot. You have Tim Hortons, where some of you go just, for me, I go to pick up girls, you know. But the idea is that when we're speaking about the deficit of the food and beverage service, we're talking about all of those services, not just the Island Pub. Now, what we're really trying to find out with this survey is really, do you guys see everything as a service, or is the Island Pub the service? And do you guys really need to have a coffee shop that's losing a lot of money? Do you guys need to have a ladle that's losing a lot of money? If not, then it's also something that you guys can bring to us, because those are part of the information we want to know.
Thank you. And can you please just say your name for the record?
My name is Baba Kayode Ayodele Fataba.
Thank you. We'll go to the speaker here, and then I think we should conclude debate in order to allow time for a vote.
Okay, I will try to keep my comments brief. For anyone who doesn't know me, I am Maxwell Bogan. I've been working at the Highland Pub and the FBS for almost 4 years, since 2011. In my time there, I would have to say that there really is nowhere else on campus that serves the same function. There are many clubs that take their time to come out there, not just these large fundraising events, but for instance, clubs that are there every single week, holding brief meetings just to talk in amongst themselves, share some food. The student unions that come by and spend their SFSS grant money on buying some foods that they can invite out their entire department and have everyone get to know each other. Not only is this important for the campus, but this is money that if the FBS is shut down, money from the SFSS that goes to clubs that will now be going to outside businesses. Personally, I realize that we run a deficit at the FBS, but to completely take that away means that we are removing a small economy within SFU that keeps money within the SFSS and within things that benefit students, and instead it sends this money to our competitors such as Tim Hortons, Starbucks, Club Ilia, people who have nothing to do with the university. As well, I would like to point out that as a student, I came to SFU in 2011 from UBC due to an issue of cost. I had to drop out because I did not have enough money to pay for my tuition and housing costs over at UBC. I came here because I knew that with my background in the service industry, I would be able to apply for a job at this food and beverage service. I did. Now I have flexible hours and a part-time job that without which I would not be graduating. I would not have a university degree. I have the FBS to thank for that. As well, over the last several years, I would say that almost every friend and every person that I've met that enhances this campus to me, I have met through that service. Not just my coworkers, several of which I have friends with, but people who simply recognize me from either working at the pub or having met me there one day because I was having a few drinks with somebody. People come up to me and say, hey, I recognize you, what's your name? And suddenly I have friends, we're getting to know each other. Without these sorts of services on campus, I worry that the image that SFU has as a commuter school where people show up and don't talk to each other, take their classes, and then immediately go home will not only continue, but get much worse. I am all for a vibrant campus culture at SFU. I hope that people make lifelong friends. And the food and beverage service, not just the pub. If you've ever been to the coffee shop, you will see people sitting there doing their homework. The library is 100 feet away. They could do it there. They prefer to sit in the coffee shop so that they can see friends, grab some tea, do any of these things. And I hope you'll take that into consideration.
Thank you. So with that said, we will have to move to a vote on this non-binding plebiscite, which reads, whereas the Food and Beverage Services, FBS, is comprised of the Highland Pub, the Higher Grounds Coffee Shop, the Ladle Vegetarian Restaurant, and catering services, whereas this is a non-binding opinion poll, whereas the SFSS is interested in seeking the members' opinion, are you in favor of continuing to operate the food and beverage services? All those in favor?
There's literally no no's.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that in a bit.
Did you want to resolve
Yeah. Okay, well, I can call that, but I need to know right now. Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, have all the yeses been tabulated?
I'll announce the results of the previous poll while they're doing this. Just
All right.
wait for the no votes, but I'll announce it when you're counting.
Okay.
Okay, have all the yeses been tabulated? Yeah. Okay, all those opposed?
Should I announce now?
Just wait till you're done.
Do the paddle.
Okay, have all the votes been calculated? Yes?
Just give us
Okay.
1 second.
Just before everyone leaves, we do have the results of the first non-binding opinion poll that we can announce if they will be provided to me.
Yes. 77% are in favor.
Okay, so with that announced, we'll move to the FBS question. We're just tallying. It was pretty clear, but I would like to announce the result before everyone goes. And while that's being calculated, I just want to thank everybody so much for being here today. This was truly a fantastic exercise in democracy, and thank you again for your time and consideration. Okay, so with 3 votes opposed, we don't know how the total, all those in favor, but
Okay, meeting adjourned at 4 p.m. No.
Yeah, see the FPS class. There's no
Well,
board.
it's a plebiscite. It doesn't pass or fail.
There'd be ways just for our information if we would get the for against and abstain.
Oh, it didn't.
We know we did four.
Yeah, I think he can help you out with that. I don't have them in front of me, but.
We'd be able to get the for against.